Somehow, almost improbably at this point, the grift and corruption of Donald Trump and his family just keeps getting more and more brazen. Today, Eric Trump went on Fox to celebrate one of the companies that he backs, that he's a strategic advisor for, landing, amazingly, a $24 million Defense Department contract from Donald Trump's Pentagon. And then he was congratulated for it by Maria Bartiromo.
Foundation Future Industries, a robotic startup, aims to develop these autonomous humanoid robots. The company just secured a $24 million contract with the Pentagon for its Phantom robot to begin tests with the Marine Corps and help troops breach enemy sites more safely. Joining us now is Foundation Future Industries founder and CEO, Sankat Patak, and the company's chief strategy advisor, Eric Trump, President Trump's son. Congratulations to you both. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Maria.
Thanks for having us, Maria.
He's the chief strategy advisor. I wonder what strategy they used to get the contract from his dad. Congressman Robert Garcia is a Democrat of California, ranking member of the Oversight Committee. He joins me now. I mean, Congressman, at the dawn of the nation, like back in the earliest years, there were scandals about government officials steering contracts, public contracts, to their family. This is the oldest kind of graft in the world. And I know nothing about whether this company got it fair or square or not. But the appearance here, at least, seems to merit some investigation.
Look, we're actually already investigating this. This is the most corrupt administration in history. I mean, this is just so blatant. It's so obvious, and they're not even hiding it anymore. I mean, Eric Trump becomes a strategic advisor for defense firms, and they're winning contracts out of the Pentagon. I mean, give me a break. Jared Kushner travels the world, $2 billion to invest for an investment fund the Saudis have made nothing from, but he's made over $100 million already from the Saudi money for his own firm. Donald Trump Jr. traveling around, opening up enterprises, opening up hotels in same countries where Donald Trump is trying to do diplomacy. I mean, this is all just corruption. They are enriching themselves. We know that Donald Trump is infinitely more wealthy. The sons are infinitely more wealthy. Jared Kushner and Ivanka are infinitely more wealthy than they ever were before he became president this second time. And so all of this has to be investigated. There has to be accountability. And I hope that his base of supporters see that he's ripping off the American public to enrich himself and his friends.
By the way, there's another. I actually only learned this today because, again, it's easy to lose track of. When I saw the Eric Trump one, I was like, oh, right, I saw this story about how they've got like a defense contractor that but there's actually another one. So there's this one, but then he and Don, I think, they've got a drone interceptor company that's trying to sell drone interceptors to the Gulf states being attacked by Iran. This is another company also looking for defense contracts with allied states that need drone interceptors because of the war their daddy launched.
People should be very clear. Your gas is going up right now. And as people's prices on gas and groceries continue to skyrocket, and especially around gas because of the war, Donald Trump and his family are actually profiting from the war. There's illegal trading going on because of the war. And so there are a lot of folks at the center of that as the Trump family that are actually enriching themselves with contracts as the American public are suffering. This war is costing over $1 billion a day. It is going to cost over $100 billion before this entire thing is over. And the people that are enriching themselves are the Trump family. And so people need to understand the incredible grift that is happening here. And it's now being done completely open. They don't care. They're on Fox News bragging about it.
There's polling on this that caught my eye today, because I think it has sunk in a little, but I would say more than nothing, but not enough. So here's the percentage of people that view the administration as very corrupt. The first Trump administration, 36%. The Biden administration, 33%. Second Trump administration, 46%. Now, that is notable, and it's a notable increase. But it does make me think there's still a lot more public education to be done. And something that it strikes me as an oversight committee that had subpoena authority and a majority and a Democratic majority, it would be a huge role for that oversight committee. You generally view it that way?
100%. I've told when people ask, what are the top two investigations that you'll be launching when we take the majority in his chair? One is going to be the Epstein investigation, and the second is going to be Trump family corruption. And we're going to zero in on the Trump family grift and corruption. They're ripping off the American taxpayer. They're literally stealing resources from our agencies and enriching themselves and their family. And the American public has to know that this is wrong, that presidents and their families don't do this. This is not the way things are supposed to work. And so the accountability piece is incredibly important. We're going to have to go after him. Folks like Jared Kushner, he's literally the president's Middle East envoy and is traveling around the world, enriching themselves. They have a crypto scheme where foreign governments are essentially likely just pouring in infinite amounts of money with no checks and balances. We have no idea who's paying who for what. So our foreign policy, in many ways, is now being directed by who can actually pay the Trump family more. I mean, this is where we are right now. And the rest of the public, including his base, has to understand that he's stealing your wealth and your hard-earned labor so he can pay himself and his family.
Yeah, I just want to say this about Jared Kushner. You know, he obviously had a sort of official role in the first Trump administration. On his way out, he has this investment fund, gets a $2 billion investment from the Saudis, an investment that they had to override the veto of their own investment committee to give. The own investment committee for the Sovereign Wealth Fund said, we should not give this guy the money. They did. He then announced with the second Trump administration, he wouldn't be raising any more funds. This was going to be the thing that stopped there being a conflict of interest if he played a role. But then quietly has been raising funds. I mean, not even that quietly. So they even blew through that stop sign. And now he is the person, like he's showing up in Pakistan. He's negotiating essentially U.S. Middle Eastern policy as he's giving PowerPoints about why you should give him money.
And it's not just the Saudis, by the way. I mean, the Saudis have put $2 billion into that fund. Other Middle East nations have also been putting money in towards that investment fund. And he spends that investment fund as he sees fit. There's been reporting that has been clear that the Saudis have actually made no real money back from their own fund, but Jared Kushner certainly has. He's made over $100 million already off that investment fund. And he is the person in charge of policy of what's going right now around the Middle East. He's the one that's trying to broker ceasefires. He's the one that's actually talking on behalf of the administration. And so the corruption is so clear. And the fact that they can't see it or don't care is what I think the American public should be outraged about. And it's certainly what oversight and House Democrats are going to be zeroed in as we investigate this in the months ahead, but also certainly when we're in the majority.